What up? Just picked up the Pint X. About to go do a range test on this sucker. See what we can do. Let's go.
All right, what's going on, everyone? Today was a special day. This is the Onewheel Pint X that arrived to my doorstep this morning. In case you're new to the channel, August 2016 was when I purchased a Onewheel V1. It's been 5 years. 5 years of patience and waiting and seeing what Onewheel has been coming out with and holding off. And this is it, man. This was the time to pull the trigger. And just like the box says, life is about to get more awesome. Sure is, man. This was the maiden voyage on the Onewheel Pint X. I was basically doing a range test just to see what kind of miles I could squeeze out of this little thing, out of this little battery, out of this little Pint X. So with the conditions today, I had like a 12 mile per hour south wind, and I'm actually headed south right now. You can see my shirt blasting around, so it was definitely a headwind. And I'm headed down towards Oak Point Park to do a big lap, a big circle around the whole park, and basically, push this thing around, see how it feels. So I'm gonna give my thoughts on this little guy here, and it's really hard, man. To tell. It's really hard to do the audio when you're actually out there doing the one-wheeling thing. You got all that wind noise, so that's why I'm doing this audio after the fact. So first thing that I noticed, this is my observation, was how much smaller the foot pads are, how much smaller the whole entire machine is in general. And you can really tell by looking at my feet and seeing how my toes and my heel are basically hanging off the edge of the board, where on the regular Onewheel, my whole entire foot is on the platform. So that took a little bit of adjusting here. It's definitely felt a little awkward having my toes hanging off there. It kind of puts the Onewheel sensation on a different part of my foot, which is a little odd. It just took a little bit of practice, just moving around a little bit to feel things out. But I really like the way that this thing moves, man, left and right. The handling is really nice. I bought this thing mainly, I really didn't need to buy it. My Onewheel V1 is still running great. It still works. I get like 7 miles out of the battery in the V1, and I never typically really ride the Onewheel long distance at all. I'm always going under 7 miles, 5 or 6 miles at most. And literally in 6 years of owning the thing, I've maybe gone on like 2 really long trips where I needed to actually bring a charger in a backpack and stop halfway on a trip. And it was when I dropped my vehicle off at a dealership in a town nearby, where instead of opting for like a Uber or something, I brought the Onewheel and just rode the Onewheel back to my house, and it was super convenient. And that was the only time I ever really needed the range. But it's interesting, when they came out with this little guy here recently, I was kind of torn between this one and that GT, and I had the cash for both. I could have gotten the GT for sure. And the GT obviously has like a 32 mile range, which is absolutely ridiculous and stuff, but it made more sense to me to get this little guy here because of the size. Sometimes less is more. And it seemed to me like this machine was way more practical for what I use the Onewheel for, and I really use it for shorter trips, and I'm frequently traveling, so I'm frequently bringing this with me in my vehicle and then also in my service vehicle. Whenever I go out of town, I'm always bringing the Onewheel everywhere. So the portability was huge for me. And I've never ridden the regular Pint. I've only ridden this Pint. This is my first Pint X. I've never even really ridden the XR. I may have test rode the XR a few years ago, just like a short little whatever in a parking lot, but I've only known the V1, and it's always been my tried and true machine, and this is it, guys. I really enjoyed this machine, and here's the results of the trip. All right, so I just completed the range test on the Pint X. So I weigh 190 pounds. Tire pressure is at 20 psi, and I verified that. We had a south wind at about 12 miles per hour, and I was able to squeeze out 19.7 miles total on this little guy right here. And that was with a kind of like two big hills that I went up, because I went from this Bethany Lakes Park area down to Oak Point Park and back, so it did good. I had the 20% battery life left alarm come on at 16.8 miles, and I had the 10% alarm activate at 18.6 miles. So this little sucker goes, man. This is a little monster.